Part 4.44 The Women and Nisa. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. Divine Justice and the Criterion of Righteousness. We begin a new, comprehensive exploration of Surah An-Nisa, the women. Continuing our journey through a set of verses that lay the moral and ethical foundations of a righteous community. After the previous sections meticulously detailed the profound consequences of deceit and injustice, this new block shifts our focus to the principles that build and sustain a spiritually healthy society. These verses emphasize the profound concept of gender equality in spiritual reward, the immense spiritual rank of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, as a model of submission, and the legal and ethical guidance for fair treatment of women and peaceful resolution of marital disputes. Together, these verses reveal a profound and eternal blueprint for a just society, demonstrating that the path to spiritual elevation is not based on gender, lineage, or worldly status, but on sincere selfless acts performed solely for the sake of Allah. They are a powerful testament to the fact that the true essence of faith lies in sincere action and the humble submission of the soul to its Creator. Lost in submission of the soulitioned. Preamble to a submission of the submitterol. While I'm someone to women so on someone some poems on so on poem to so pas a while on tongue but the two I will try to do and well to pop what to says the power well do it at the found man I went so I do with a mad I of a voice of a soul pious what it ends and whoever does good deeds, whether a man or a woman, and is a believer, then they shall enter paradise, and they will not be wronged even by a tiny fiber of a date seed. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the women. 4-124. And who is better in faith than he who surrenders himself to Allah, and is a doer of good, and follows the faith of Abraham, who was upright, and Allah took Abraham as a special friend. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the women. 4-125. And to Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth, and Allah encompasses all things. Quran to women. 4-126. And they ask you for a ruling concerning women. Say Allah gives you a ruling concerning them. And that which is recited to you in the book concerning orphan women. You do not give what is prescribed for them, and you desire to marry them and the oppressed children, and that you should stand up for justice to orphans. And whatever good you do, then Allah is all-knowing of it. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the women. 4-127. And if a woman fears ill treatment from her husband, or desertion, then there is no blame upon them if they reconcile between themselves in peace. And reconciliation is best. Avarice is ever present in the souls. And if you do good and are pious, then indeed Allah is all aware of what you do. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the women. 4-128. This block of 5 verses presents a profound theological and ethical framework for the Islamic community. Verse 4-124 is a revolutionary and empowering declaration of gender equality in the sight of Allah. It clarifies that spiritual reward and entry into paradise are based solely on faith and righteous actions, irrespective of gender. The divine promise that no one will be wronged even by a tiny fiber of a date seed is a powerful metaphor for the absolute precision and fairness of Allah's justice. This verse provides a direct and unequivocal answer to the prevailing cultural norms of the time and establishes a foundational principle of the Islamic faith. Verse 4-125 then introduces the concept of ihsan, which is translated as doing good or acting with excellence. The verse establishes Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, as the supreme model for this state of being. His faith was not only a complete surrender to Allah, but also a state of continuous goodness and sincerity. The title of special friend bestowed upon him is a profound spiritual teaching on the ultimate goal of the believer, to attain a state of nearness and intimacy with the divine. Verses 4-126 and 4-127 provide a shift from broad spiritual principles to specific legal and social guidance. The statement to Allah belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth. 4-126 serves as a theological preface to the legal injunctions that follow, grounding all law in Allah's comprehensive knowledge and ownership of creation. Verse 4 to 127 then directly addresses the legal rights of orphaned women and children. This verse is a powerful continuation of the Quranic theme of protecting the most vulnerable members of society. It directly commands believers to act with justice and to not exploit those under their care, particularly orphaned girls, a common practice in the pre-Islamic era. Finally, verse 4 to 128 addresses a sensitive and critical aspect of social life: marital disputes. It provides divine guidance for seeking reconciliation, describing it as the best path. The verse's acknowledgement that avarice is ever present in the souls is a profound psychological insight, teaching that the human tendency towards greed and selfishness must be actively resisted for the sake of spiritual and marital harmony. This entire section masterfully weaves together themes of justice, faith, human rights, and the ethical conduct of relationships, providing a rich and comprehensive guide to the spiritual life. Sufi perspective. From a Sufi perspective, this block of verses is a profound manual on the inner journey of the soul. The verse on gender equality 4 to 124 is a core principle of the Sufi path, which recognizes that the soul has no gender. The spiritual journey is an inward one, accessible to all souls regardless of their external form. A true Sufi seeks to see beyond the outward distinctions of this world and to recognize the divine light within every person. The Sufi understands that the true measure of a person is not their gender, but the purity of their heart and the sincerity of their devotion to Allah. The concept of ihsan in verse 4 to 125 is the very essence of the Sufi path. The Sufi strives to worship Allah as if they see Him, to live in a state of constant awareness of the divine presence, a state known as muraqabah, contemplation. Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, is seen not just as a prophet, but as the prototype of the ultimate Sufi, a friend of Allah who attained the highest spiritual station through complete surrender and unwavering devotion. The verse on reconciliation in marriage 4 to 128 is a direct teaching on the Sufi principles of sabar, patience, and shukr, gratitude. The Sufi sees marital harmony not as a mere legal obligation, but as a sacred spiritual practice. Reconciliation is a spiritual act of self-purification where one overcomes the ego's avarice and puts the welfare and spiritual growth of the partner first. The verse's concluding statement about Allah's awareness of all deeds is a powerful reminder to the Sufi that every thought, every intention, and every action is known to the divine, and thus a sincere heart is the only path to true success. The Ziya-ul-Quran interpretation. The scholarly commentary in Ziya-ul-Quran by Pir Muhammad Karam Shah Al-Azhari provides a masterful synthesis of legal and ethical interpretations for these verses. He highlights the revolutionary importance of verse 4 to 124 by explaining that it is a direct and unequivocal declaration of spiritual equality, a principle far ahead of its time. He argues that this verse is a foundational pillar of Islamic theology, establishing that divine justice is based on piety and not on any social or physical distinctions. Pir Muhammad Karam Shah al-Azhari meticulously analyzes verse 4 to 125, stressing the significance of ihsan as the highest spiritual station a human can attain. He uses the example of Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, to illustrate that true faith is not a mere intellectual assent, but a complete and total surrender to the will of Allah, a state that he argues is accessible to all believers who strive with sincerity. His commentary on verse 4 to 127 is particularly powerful, where he explains the socio-legal context of the verse, detailing how it was revealed to correct the unjust practices of the time where guardians would exploit orphaned girls. He emphasizes that the Quranic injunctions here establish a legal framework that prioritizes the rights of the most vulnerable and demands a high standard of justice from all believers. He concludes his analysis of this section by emphasizing the profound psychological and ethical wisdom of verse 4 to 128. He interprets the phrase reconciliation as best, as a universal principle that should guide all human relationships. He argues that the Quran, by acknowledging the avarice in souls, provides a realistic and humane guide for people, reminding them that the path to spiritual and social harmony requires conscious effort and a constant struggle against the lower self. Hadith. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught, "Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see him. For if you do not see him, he surely sees you." Sahih Muslim, Hadith number 8. This foundational hadith perfectly encapsulates the essence of verse 4-125. It provides a simple yet profound teaching. It places the sincerity of a person's intention at the very pinnacle of Islamic law and morality. It is a powerful reminder that while worldly appearances can be deceiving, the true spiritual value of a person's action lies in the unseen intentions of their heart. Another relevant hadith highlights the spiritual loss incurred by the one who does not strive. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught, "Whoever dies without having fought for the sake of Allah, or having the desire to do so, dies upon a branch of hypocrisy." Sahih Muslim. This hadith adds a layer of spiritual depth to the Quranic verse. It teaches that the act of remaining passive is not just a neutral choice, but a spiritual one that can have grave consequences. It signifies a spiritual lack of commitment and a hidden disease of the heart. The hadith provides a clear and powerful teaching that a person who is not willing to strive for Allah's cause has, in a profound spiritual sense, left the protection and mercy of their own religion. This spiritual excommunication is the real punishment, and all the others mentioned in the verse are its natural and inevitable consequences. And with this profound exploration of divine wisdom, our journey through this section of the Quran concludes for today. May this spiritual guidance illuminate our hearts and minds, filling them with the light of faith and understanding. And may Allah grant us the wisdom to live by the truths revealed in His sacred book, applying its teachings to every aspect of our lives. May He accept our sincere efforts and forgive our shortcomings, showering His blessings upon us, our families, and our communities. May He guide us on the straight path and grant us a noble end, and may His peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you all. May our hearts remain steadfast in His remembrance, and may our lives be a testament to His love and mercy. May we always strive to be among those who are active in His way, sacrificing our comfort for His pleasure. May our knowledge be a source of benefit for ourselves and for all of humanity. May Allah elevate our spiritual ranks and grant us a place in the highest of heavens. And may we be counted among His blessed servants forever in His grace.